Hi, this is Christina Simmons with the Say Yes to Holiness podcast. Thanks so much for joining me today. And I am really excited to have my guest today, Ann DeSantis. And there's a whole bunch of different reasons. Our paths keep crossing. And so I was so excited she was able to take out time, especially this week, because there's so much coming up. So without further ado, Ann, go ahead, introduce yourself. Where are you and what are you about right now?
Oh, thank you so much, Christina. It's such a pleasure. And it's a pleasure also working with you with Smart Catholics. And I know we're going to talk a lot about that. My name again, Ann DeSantis. I am the director of the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. We are a Mercedarian ministry. When I say that, that means that we are founded through a religious order called the Order of Mercy. We're headquartered in Philadelphia. That's also where I'm located. I live in the Philadelphia suburbs. I'm a wife and a mother of two daughters in their 20s. I'm a former homeschooling mom as well. And now I'm working for this foundation where we help families in crisis. And what we do is we offer a spiritual consultation, spiritual accompaniment for families who are affected by divorce and separation, and also for families who have crisis issues that they would need to reach out to us. And we have a lot of resources too. I know we're going to talk a lot about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but that's pretty much in a nutshell my title.
Yeah, there's so much there that you all do that when I first came across you guys through Smart Catholics, um, and I saw what it was that you did, and then I saw this conference that you guys were getting ready to do as well. I was just so excited because there are so many people, especially right now, that so desperately need what it is that you offer. And so I was really, really pleased to see that there was going to be an opportunity for more people to know about what the foundation does, but in a particular way, for more people to come to know about the Mercedarian Fathers. And so, how did you happen to get linked up with them?
Oh, that's a long story, but I'll tell you some of it. I'll tell you some of it is what I guess it was around 2012. I had a spiritual director who had died. And not only that, that same year, I had two spiritual directors die in a year. So I was on sort of a hunt to find a new spiritual director. And I didn't know where to find one because I had talked to several friends and no one could really recommend anybody at that time. So I had this Catholic directory in my house for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, where I live. And I happened to come upon the monastery of Our Lady of Mercy, which is located in West Philadelphia. I called the phone number and I spoke to, he's now a priest, but back then he was a brother Daniel Bowen, and told him who I was and what I was looking for. And he had recommended that I talk to a priest who was living at the monastery at the time with him and is also a friend, Father Matthew Phelan. He's the pastor up in Our Lady of Mercy Parish up in Western New York now,
Mm.
but he became my spiritual director. And then I became a member of their Third Order of Mercy, which is a lay prayerful member of the religious order. And then
Mhm.
they founded the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation in 2015, the Mercedarian Friars, and they hired their first director. She was a wonderful woman, but after about 6 months, she decided to quit. And at
Mm.
that time, there was an event coming up where they were having people come to the church, and the priest needed help to organize this event. So he said to me that she had just quit, and would I be willing to come on board to help out and maybe be the administrative assistant? So that was my first role. And then since January of 2018, I've been the director, and it's been my pleasure to help families in crisis and also those affected by divorce and separation, because
Mhm.
it is a reality for the church and also for the world. So many people who are affected, whether they are the actual couples or the adult children or the children of divorce too. So that's
Yeah,
some of my journey with it.
it's beautiful and it's amazing how God has people cross our paths and how He always is working to good through everything that happens. Even when I'm sure in the midst of losing two spiritual directors in 1 year, you're
Mhm.
going, "Oh my gosh! I mean, I just found one and now I have to find another." And that's actually something that I tell people about is, I encourage them continue to persevere in that search, because it makes all the difference in the world for being able to have someone to accompany you and help you be able to continuously discern rightly how it is that God is asking of you to respond to what he's placing before you. And so you don't get distracted also by what Satan's favorite thing to do is to distract us with really good things that aren't really what we should be doing. But they're good, but those aren't the things we should be doing. And so having a spiritual director is just very, very important. So it's obvious that this has been a good relationship in that you have now become part of their lay third order.
Yes. Oh, it's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's beautiful. So what exactly does the foundation, you said it works, it reaches out to families in crisis, but the foundation, I know, so is that one-on-one? I mean, like in our COVID world right now, how has that kind of changed for you all to be able to accompany families, especially in crisis?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's changed for us, but not in a huge way, because most of our ministry before the pandemic was online, most of it. We did do some in-person events, but right now at this point in time, I'm really the only employee, if you will. So we don't have a staff of people that work for the friars within this foundation. It's just me, and I have a wonderful team of friends and volunteers, and my wonderful 8-person board too, that do a lot of work to help us promote what we do. So what does it look like? Well, we offer 3 things. The number one thing that we offer, obviously, is prayer. We are religious through a religious order, so we're always offering our prayers, our daily prayers for families who are going through rough times. I mean, COVID this past year was very hard for so many families and people. So that would
Mm-hmm.
be the first thing that we do, is just make that commitment to pray for them. We let them know via our website, via social media, and just word of mouth to please reach out to us so we can pray for whatever those needs are. So that's first. Secondly, we offer free spiritual consultation with one of our Mercedarian friars. And we do that all the time. We're always saying that please contact us if you have a spiritual concern or something that you would like to talk to a priest about, or even myself. I would be happy to take that time, listen to you. Now, we're not licensed counselors. We do have one certified counselor on our board of directors, Colleen Fitzpatrick, and that's a wonderful thing to have
Right.
as well. But
Oh
we
yeah.
offer that free spiritual consultation, and so if somebody's watching or listening, they can reach out to us. Our website is nonnatus.org, and you can reach out and make an appointment. And now the
Yeah.
third way that we make outreach is through monthly podcasts. We have 2 podcasts. Our YouTube channel is called Philly Nonnatus. Philly because that's where I'm located. Nonnatus because we're the Nonnatus Foundation. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have one podcast that's for divorced and separated Catholics, and we have another podcast that's for families in crisis. And you can learn about that on the YouTube channel. And we interview people too. We interview great guests and people who have things to offer to help families. So they're the main things that we offer, but we're always trying to expand too.
Right. No, and those are great. And I was making notes to make sure that I can put them into the show notes, so that way people will be able to find those links easily. And if they want to reach out. So in addition to all of that, though, that's your continuous work. And so but you also have this conference that's coming up, the God is Mercy conference, and that was kind of where we first crossed paths. And so how did that kind of come about?
Oh, that was amazing, honestly. Now, I didn't mention this in the introduction, but there is another part of my career which is intertwined with the foundation. I always tell people that my primary position is the director of the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation. And every day when I wake up, other than my family and my faith, that's my next thing. I mean, I put my full energy into trying to make outreach and be the director for the people that need me. In addition to that, though, I am also a podcast host and also an online TV host with Patchwork Heart Ministry, Sowing Hope podcast. I make a shout out to my friend Bill Snyder. And we do a podcast twice a week, Tuesdays at 9 a.m., Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Patchwork Heart Ministry on YouTube. The other thing that I do is I am an online TV host at Fiat Ministry Network. The producer is Kent Kolhosky. Hello, Kent. Good to see you here if you're watching. And that's on Friday evenings at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can watch right on Facebook Live. I interview great guests, and it's an amazing thing for me to be able to meet these people and let their stories be told to others, how their faith has been enriched throughout their lives. So they're the two other things that I do. And that gets me to the conference. So through the podcast that I do, Dominic D'Souza, our great friend from Smart Catholics, the founder, he found out about Bill Snyder and I through our podcast. He had reached out to us maybe about 6 months ago, made an introduction. And then I was able to meet a lot of the people who are on the Smart Catholic site, such as yourself. And then I was asked to be a part of another conference called After Divorce. You probably heard about that one. The After Divorce Conference with Rose Sweet. And since the foundation that I work for does that ministry, Rose had invited me to be a speaker. So that was amazing too. And that's how it all started. I talked to Dominic. I told him, hey, it would be great if the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation could do a conference. He told me his idea to do God is Mercy. I said, it sounds awesome. That's right up our alley. And that's how it all started.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just super excited. I was looking at the speaker list, and for anybody who hasn't signed up yet, you can simply go to smartcatholics.com and check out the events, and the God is Mercy conference is there. It is completely free, so you're able to register, participate, and watch the conference talks. For a small fee, you're able to get access to all of the live talks and workshops, and different things will be happening during the conference itself, as well as the community is still going to be there afterwards. So what are you hoping might come from this conference, and what might come afterwards?
Well, in my opinion, the most important thing are relationships and being able to help to foster the faith of others. And, you know, at the end of our lives, really what's important, our faith, our family, our friends, and also that we lived with God in the Holy Spirit, and how much we loved God together, right? We did it together as community as well. So what do I hope to gain from it? Right. Well, I think I would just switch it around and say, I want whatever God wants from it, because God is mercy, right? I have to mention that. Right. So whatever God wants from it, that's what I want. I'm just following his lead. You know, I myself have even been through times in my life where I wished I could have had this kind of community. So to me, it's a beautiful thing that we can come together on this platform and make good quality friends with people who really do want to love God and want to help others and make outreach.
Yeah, that was something that attracted me to Smart Catholics as well. I had been privileged in that I had Mighty Networks, which Smart Catholics is hosted on, the platform it's on. I'd come across it a year before, and but my mom had a major stroke. She came to live with us, and I just wasn't able to focus on, you know, transitioning onto a different social platform. And so when I saw Smart Catholics, I was like, oh, this is great. I can see how somebody else does it. And then the other part, you know, that kind of, you know, drew me in was the vision of we're not going to like isolate ourselves. Rather, we're coming together in order to strengthen ourselves, to encourage one another, to then empower us to go out, to be able to connect with others, to then help bring the good news. And I was just like, okay, here we go. So this is, you know, this is what need to be a part of. So I was super, super excited about that. And it's beautiful to see the communities that are growing up within the larger community. So I'm excited again, but the speaker list is definitely a phenomenal one, and all sorts of. I can't think of a better way to start Advent. Can you?
No, I can't. I mean, I'm extremely excited. It is going to be Thanksgiving weekend, and for some people it's a little bit busy, I guess. But most of us are kind of on somewhat of a lockdown, right? So, and we will be home, and remember, like you said, it's not just there's a lot of beauty in the whole Smart Catholics platform, because not only are you going to get live talks, but there'll also be these pre-recorded videos of like 15 minutes or so. I can tell you that for this conference, we have over 40 really, truly gifted Catholic speakers, authors, a lot of religious too. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. So you made mention of the fact that it's the same weekend as Thanksgiving weekend, but it's going to be a little bit different this year. How are you personally within your family, how are you kind of approaching this year differently? Because it is different. We're in the midst of a pandemic.
Yes. I mean, for me, it does bother me. I can't lie. I mean, it bothers me what I've seen this past year in society, and some of the things that have gone on. Of course, you scratch your head and just say a prayer, because a lot of it is kind of, out of our control. It's really in God's control. But I think as far as my personal faith journey, and what we've experienced here in my very home has been very peaceful. I mean, honestly, we as a family have had a very good year, because we've got
Uh-huh.
a chance to spend a lot of time together. We did pray the rosary almost every night, especially during the height of the pandemic. We made sure that we prayed that like 8 p.m. rosary. It was wonderful. We still try to do it as much as we can. My daughters are a little bit busier now that like school's in session and work is, back to work kind of thing. But it's just been a real blessing. That the family dinners that we've had every night has been lovely. And just being together and really trying to trust God, trust God no matter what's going on outside of this home. So I would say all in all for us, it has been a blessing. Thank you, Christina. I don't know if there you are. I think you're here with me again.
Yep. Yep. I'm here.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And I would kind about, especially about family life, and the opportunities.
Okay, just waiting to hear back because I think we have a poor connection right now. But I appreciate so much to be a part of this podcast and with Christine here. And it's wonderful. And just waiting for her to come back as we have a little bit of a slight technical difficulty, but I'm sure she'll be right back with us. Hello.
That was a long pause.
Okay.
So my apologies for everybody for that minute that it took for my Zoom link to come back. The joys of small town Alabama, as many people who will watch these and listen to these know about. But anyway, so you go ahead and redirect our conversation, and what it is that you all have coming up in the Advent and Christmas season in particular. What are you focusing upon?
Oh, thank you. I mean, first and foremost, as we've been talking about, is the conference, and that's the first thing that's coming up, which is November 28th and 29th. And again, for people who are watching or listening, it's smartcatholics.com. And then you just go to events and you can sign up for free registration for God is Mercy. We have a list of about 40 speakers. Christina is one of them. We also have Father Frank Pavone, Father from my religious order, the Order of Mercy. We have Father Daniel Bowen and Father Ken Breen. From the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, we have our vocation director, Father Stephen DeLacy, and also another priest, Father Christopher Walsh. So grateful to him. And Penny Warner, Anna Nuzzo, Annie Carto, Alan Smith. I mean, the list goes on, but definitely check out the site and you can see all the beautiful speakers that will be with us. Now, there's another conference I want to mention too. That Bill Snyder is working with Parousia Media,
Right.
and they're out in Australia. There's going to be a host of wonderful Catholic speakers for a whole month Advent event. With
The Advent pilgrimage.
the Advent pilgrimage. I mean, some of the speakers are Deacon Harold Burke Sivers, Jeff Cavins. I know that, there's a host of other priests, religious, and other speakers. So it's an amazing one.
No, it sounds amazing. I personally signed up as soon as I saw it, and they had done an earlier rosary pilgrimage in the midst of leading up to October 7th, I think it was, and that was just marvelous. Having different people leading people in prayer, but in particular reflecting upon each of the mysteries. And that was just a beautiful way to enter more deeply into prayer. And so I was excited to see the Advent pilgrimage, and also that they're going to be adding in the posadas at the end as well, which is huge here in my community with a large Mexican and Guatemalan population. So very excited about all of that. So I'll put that in the show notes too. I got lots of
Please do. Please do. Yeah, I'm very excited. And Bill has asked me to do a short 15-minute talk. So I believe my talk is actually going to be on Christmas Day.
Oh, wonderful.
People receive an email and then they can click on it and watch. So yeah, I'm really, really blessed to be a part of it. I mean, there's a lot more speakers than I mentioned for that one. So I got a little tongue tied to read the whole list because I don't have it in front of me, but it's really a wonderful list of speakers. So, and as far as, you asked me about Advent, as far as being a family together, I mean, we always try to make it a point to pray more together and take out that Advent wreath, light it, and say our prayers every night. So that's a real blessing. And I just learned that we will be spending the holidays just us as a family. We won't be doing the outside gatherings because in my particular state, they are doing those very strict lockdowns with meeting with larger groups of people. So we decided that we will stay home. But maybe that'll be an opportunity for us to grow in faith as well, because we will be together a lot.
No, I think most people forget that being a family is about being together. And when you look at and reflect upon the life of the Holy Family, what they went through everything together. So that journey to Bethlehem to begin with, but then the flight to Egypt, the coming back to Nazareth, the spending time as family in Nazareth, so we forget that that's how our Lord spent 30 years of his life. And that's what he invites us into, to do it with him, alongside him, and so that he can bless every little bit of it. And that's where we truly find the great joy in life. And I think sometimes people forget that they think it's the big glitter or especially at Christmas time, everyone is all into, and I'm a Christmas girl, my husband, it's like, I'll do the lights, I'll do, those things, but it's something where it's about sitting around the table and playing a silly board game, and and having the stories to tell afterwards that really are the Christmas memories. Not gee, we had 20 million lights. Christmas Vacation was on the other day, and so it was that whole sequence trying to light the house. But all that being said, it's a beautiful reminder, and thank you for that, especially for the majority of my audience that are those with families and children at home, and many of them are homeschooling, and so this has been a challenging time, but there's been a lot of joy that's been found. So God is definitely present. So it is wonderful. So one final thing that I did want to ask about was just the with the conference coming up, and I saw that you're doing kind of a wrap up, of the
Mm.
conference, and so when you're kind of doing that, you're hoping that all the speakers will kind of gather for that one, kind of the bang for your buck at the very end there.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was that it's going to be a beautiful weekend, and we're going to be doing a lot of sharing, a lot of listening, a lot of praying, and a lot of
Mhm.
growing. And my thought is with this wrap up is to just bring us all together and let us share some of the great things that happened during the weekend. So it's not going to be as much as Anne will be giving a speech or anything like that.
Mhm.
To be quite honest, I'm more of a listener than a talker, but I do my best. Listening is probably one of my favorite things to do because that's when I learn.
Mhm.
And it may sound selfish, but I love to learn. So yeah, it won't be as much of a talk by Anne as it will be a listening opportunity for all of us.
And and part of the reason I suspected that that was the case, and why I wanted to ask, because so often we don't pause to reflect and give thanks for the many graces that we have experienced in the midst of something. And especially so many conferences are set up so that it's almost like a fire hose of information, and that's great in some ways, but to be able to take the time to reflect and process, and then also to share the graces that we've been given, so that that way the entire community can benefit as well. So I love that. And that's actually one of those aspects of mercy, isn't it? The abundance of all the blessings that come.
Oh, I
So
agree. Yes, thank
yeah.
you.
Not at all, not at all. So I once again I want to give you a chance to be able to highlight your different podcasts, your YouTube shows, and also the upcoming conference. So go for it, and it gives me a chance to check all my links too.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. The biggest shout out I want to make to all of you, we all went through somewhat of a difficult year, even if within your own family life, maybe things weren't so bad, but somebody who either lost their job, maybe they got separated from their husband or their wife, maybe their
Right.
disease got worse, maybe they got COVID, who knows? My
Hmm.
biggest shout out would be to connect with me at the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation and set up your free spiritual consultation appointment. We do this as a completely free service, spiritual service. Like I said, we're not counselors, so we're not going to be psychologists for you or anything like that, but we're there for you and we're doing this for free. And you can have as many appointments as you need. So please do reach out to me at nonnatus.org. That's my first thing. Also, subscribe to Philly Nonnatus on YouTube. That's the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation YouTube channel, especially if you have friends who are affected by divorce or families in crisis. And lastly, are those other two shows that I do, those two amazing shows. I'm so grateful to two people in particular. We'll say three people: Bill Snyder, Kent Kohoski, and also Jennifer Sinclair, who every single week shares all these podcasts for us on social media.
Hmm.
You would subscribe to Patchwork Heart Ministry on YouTube, and that is the Sowing Hope podcast. And then the other one is Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis on Fiat Ministry Network. So please do like that page on Facebook, and uh, and subscribe to Fiat Ministry Network on YouTube as well. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Oh, not at all. Such wonderful resources, especially during this time of the year. But as you said, especially this year, at the end of a year of pandemic, but of also very challenging year within our society. As we've confronted a lot of different things in our country here in the United States. But the fact is that God has been working to the good through all of it. And I'm very excited that people will have access, especially to the resources that you all provide. I definitely encourage all of you, if you know of someone who has been impacted, is a family in crisis, please reach out. And this is what I do, and why I do what I do is to connect people with what it is that they need. And I know that I don't provide everything, and I wouldn't want to. That's no fun in the body of Christ. Part of the fun of a potluck is everybody brings their things to the table, and it's better than you could ever imagine. So it's beautiful what you all are doing, and thank you so much for your time and for all of your efforts that you are putting in, not just for this conference, but for all of the work that you and the Mercedarian Fathers are doing and the Raymond Nonnatus Foundation are doing. It's so needed. And so thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you, Christina. And I value your new friendship. I know we just met pretty recently, and I'm very grateful for you and all the wonderful work that you're doing too, because you do have a very caring heart. And I know that you're doing what you're doing because you love God and you want to impact the lives of others so that they can also experience God's mercy.
Well, thank you for your sweet words, but very true. So thank you again. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you've enjoyed this time getting to know Anne and also about the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation, the Mercedarian Fathers, and all of what is there, especially for families who are in crisis, but in a particular way for us to really be able to know that message that God is mercy. He is always merciful in ways that we can never imagine. So I really am so pleased and happy to have been able to join with Anne today, and know of my continued prayers that each and every one of you continue to do whatever it takes so that together we can tell the Master of Death, not today. Have a blessed day, and we'll talk with all of you again soon.